Today's topic we'll be discussing is about EC2. EC2 stands for Elastic Cloud Compute. Okay, with the help of this service, we can launch servers, and we can create, stop, reload, take the backup of that. Completely, we can deal with all the servers. Here on the cloud, we call the servers as instances. Okay, instances are nothing but servers. EC2 stands for Elastic Cloud Compute. So why he named Amazon guy has named this service as EC2 means because you're dealing with the servers. It means that compute is nothing but a combination of, when I say compute, the word compute represents a combination of memory and processor. Okay, here we calculate the processors, okay, the capacity of processor with the units called vCPU. vCPU stands for virtual CPUs. Okay, now as I said we call the computers or the servers in our EC2 service, I mean in our AWS, as instances, right? Instances are nothing but servers. Okay, now these instances are launched in cloud. Okay, and the size of the instances can be changed, okay, depending upon the customer requirement elastically. Assume that today you have launched some server with 2 GB of RAM and one virtual CPU, and tomorrow you want to increase the size or decrease the size. Yes, this is possible very easily. Within minutes you can do that. That's the reason elastically you can change the size of the instance. From the least instance size what Amazon is offering is 0.6 GB of memory. It means that 600 MB of RAM memory to 2000 plus GB of memory. In terms of memory I was talking, okay, 600 MB to 2000 GB of RAM capacity of server, I mean the instance you can launch on our cloud. As well, when it comes to virtual CPU, you can launch at least one CPU, one virtual CPU minimum to maximum 128 or something 64 virtual CPU, sorry, 128 virtual CPU of instance. Okay, and now we know that in order to create a server or whatever that VM or computer, whatever you call, okay, that has to have memory plus processor plus storage. Now who is offering this storage for this EC2 is, okay, EBS service of AWS. EBS stands for Elastic Block Storage. Elastic Block Storage. Okay, on the first class of AWS, we have talked about the S3 service, right? S3 is an object storage. Okay, and I told you there is another storage of AWS, that is block storage, and that is EBS, which is was so. With the help of this EBS service of AWS, you can create block storages, okay, and you can use that block storages as a hard disk to your server, as a hard disk to your server. It means that as a storage to your server. Okay, when I say instance, okay, when I say instance means computer or the VM in the cloud or computer physical server in the cloud. On that instance you'll have one is compute as well as EBS volumes. Okay, combination of these two forms one instance. Okay, Now, in order to create instance, the server on cloud, the VM in cloud, okay, the first step is, first there are steps in order to create a VM. Choose AMI image. What is this AMI image? AMI stands for Amazon Machine Image. Okay, on your home, on your laptop, or on your on-premises data center, how do you install operating system on servers? By having a uh, disk. Okay, on the disk you'll have the bootable operating system loaded. So by using that disk, you install the operating system onto the physical servers. Okay, when it comes to virtual machines, okay, what you do, you'll have the ISO image, bootable image of the operating system. From that bootable image of the operating system, you install the operating system on the VMs. But here, when it comes to cloud, similar to ISO bootable image, with Amazon has images, bootable images, and he named those images as Amazon Machine Images, AMI. Okay, on AMI you can find lot of images like Ubuntu, RHEL, Red Hat, okay, Windows, CentOS, Fedora, etc. etc. There are a lot of bootable images you can find on our AMI service of AWS. AMI is nothing but Amazon Machine Image. That image represents some operating system bootable image. Okay, first you have to choose AMI image. First step. Example that you have chosen some Windows Server 2012 R2. What is this? Why I'm writing it Windows Server 2012 R2 instead of just writing Windows? Guys, when we talk about Windows, basically Windows has both servers as well as the desktops. Okay, when it comes to server side, Windows servers, there are a lot of versions. Windows Server 2008, Windows Server 2008 R2, Windows Server 2008 data, different things. Windows Server 2012, Server 2012 R2, Windows Server 2016. There are different versions of Windows that has released on the server side. When we talk about the desktop side, there are a lot of operating systems on the Windows too, like Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows Vista, Windows 8, Windows 10. Okay, here you have to decide first you want to go with Windows or Linux. If you want to go with Windows, our EC2 instance supports AWS EC2 supports only Windows servers, not the Windows desktop versions. With the help of EC2 service, you cannot launch Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10 operating systems. You can launch only Windows servers. Okay, you have to choose the Windows and the server exact model number. Second step, create instance. Okay, EC2. For that you have to choose instance type. I'll write here as choose instance type. Now, talking much about instance type. What exactly is instance type is, assume that I want to create an instance of 2 GB RAM and one virtual CPU. Okay, yeah, it is possible with Amazon Web Services. What if I want to create an instance of 10 GB RAM and one virtual CPU? No, it is not possible because Amazon has predefined instances types. When I type AWS EC2 instances types, okay, here I can list all the available Amazon instances types. From here you have to choose what is according to your requirement, which is very close nearby. Right now, Amazon has categorized all ease instances into five types, five categories. Okay, five categories. That is general purpose, compute optimized, memory optimized, accelerated computing, and storage optimized. I'll tell you what is this differences between later. For time being, I'll talk about only general purpose. Here you can see that if I say instance type T2.nano, under T2.nano, I was getting one virtual CPU of processor and 0.5 GB of RAM. It means that 500 MB of RAM. If I say T2.micro, under that I was getting one virtual CPU of processor and 1 GB of RAM. Like that, while creating the instance, you have to choose the instance type, whether you want T2.small or T2.large. See, under T2.large, you are offering, he was giving you two virtual CPU and 8 GB of RAM. Like that, here lot of things. M5.large for your requirement, which is very close, you have to choose that. Okay, assume that my requirement is I need, okay, 32 GB of virtual CPU and 64 GB of memory. So I'll look, is there any 32 virtual CPU? So here, but on virtual CPUs list, I'll look here. No, no, cannot find. No, Amazon is not offering 32 virtual CPU of processor under this TM category. What is this T and M category? Why he named it as M4, M5 categories? Okay, T categories means, here I'll tell you. When we talk about computer, there are some calculations that we need to consider. Assume that this is server. If you want to create a or instance, see, you cannot create one virtual CPU of processor and 256 GB of RAM. This is completely, okay, irrelevant combination. One virtual CPU of processor means it's very less compute when compared with this 256 GB of memory RAM. Guys, what is this one virtual CPU means? I think, have you heard about this uh, dual core processor and core 2 duo processor? Okay, I used to listen this dual core and core 2 duo processor on around 4 to 5 years back. Okay, now what exactly this dual core represents means, on that processor you have two cores. Dual means two, cores means that just computer core. The processor, every processor will have cores. It means that it has one and two dual core on the processor. Okay, on each and every core you have two virtual CPUs, two vCPUs, virtual CPUs. It means that it is like 1 by 4th capacity of the entire dual core processor. It means that it is very small amount when compared with 256 GB of memory. Okay, now it may be good like one virtual CPU. How generally, how what basis will combine this CPU and memories? It's like if you are having one virtual CPU of processor, you can take 1 GB of RAM or 2 GB. That is good. If you have two virtual CPU, multiply it with double, 4 GB of RAM Okay, if you had 4 virtual CPU, you can go for 8 GB of RAM, or less than 8 GB like 6 GB, or just a little bit of more than 8 GB like 10 GB or 12 GB. You can go. It's like 8 virtual CPU, 6 multiply it with 2 times 60 GB of RAM. Either you can choose. This is a standard way of creating an instances. Okay, so that majority of applications or the operating systems above the applications can work on these capacities. But in worst cases, there may be some applications you can find in the market that require at least 2 virtual CPU of RAM, but it requires like 24 GB of memory. In worst cases, you can find some applications also. In that scenario, you have to choose depending upon that. See, some servers people launch for web servers. Some servers people launch for database servers. Assume that I have launched a web server and I have installed the web server application and my website on this server. Okay, I'll say it is on this EC2 instance. Now, my web server consumes compute, more computes, virtual CPU than memory. Here, virtual CPU it consumes a lot because it is web server. It has to deal all the incoming traffic, outgoing traffic. It has to read all the connections, everything. When compared with memory. Okay, in this scenario, I'll choose my EC2 instance type such a way that I have high virtual CPUs when compared with memory. Okay, talking about another scenario, database servers. For database servers, you required high memory when compared with virtual CPUs. Why? Database servers always runs the queries. Okay, it needs some temporary storage to store all the queries and to do the functions and everything. In this scenario, I'll choose this kind of thing. Now that's the reason on the general purpose he has given T2 means T2 instances are burstable performance. High means high performance instances that provides baseline level, a unique level of CPU performance as well as the memory. The T2 unlimited instances can sustain high CPU performance for long work nodes. So T2 he is recommending, hey guys, if you are looking for high compute, high CPU loads, then you choose these T2 types of instances. Again, here talking about he's telling M5 instances are the latest generation of general purpose instances. This family provides a balance of compute and memory. It means that here you can find both compute and memory in a balanced mode. See here you can see 2 means 8, 4 means 16, 8 means 32, 16 means 64, and 2 into 2, like he's double time he's multiplying and he's giving 8. 4 double time he's multiplying 4 into 2 8, like plus 8 16. Here 8 into 2 16 plus 16 32, like this. Here this combination he's offering. When it comes to M4, M4 instances gives high memory than compute. Here that you can see M4 instances provides a balance of compute, memory and networking. Sorry, this is also giving the same balance of compute, memory and networking. I think that is M3. Okay, M3 instances provides a balance of compute. Here M3 you can find high memory than compute. Here you can see 2 virtual CPU 8, 4 virtual CPU 16, 8 virtual CPU 30. It is depending upon your requirement. Okay, you can choose which category you require. People may ask, hey, I'm looking for VM, but on my VM I develop games, so I need a high graphic card VM. On that scenario, yes, Amazon is providing such kind of category also. We call it as G. Where is that? You can find C3. See, G3 instances are optimized for graphics intensive applications. If you want to launch some games on that server, or if you want to develop some games on that server, we always prefer, hey, always launch this type of instances. So these instances will have high graphic card. Hello. Hello guys, can you hear me? Hello. Can anyone reply back?
Yeah, bro.
Okay. So everyone can hear me. That's good. I lost my power here, so I connected to my hotspot. That's good. Okay. Where are we? What are we talking about? I mean, when I lost, what exactly the topic I was talking? Can someone just tell me?
G3. G3.
Okay, G3. That's good.
About that.
Here. Okay, here you can see that G3 kind of instances is for high graphics. So you have to choose this kind of category. So depending upon your requirement, you have to choose which category best suits you. Okay, and you have to choose that instance type, the required uh, capacity of your instance, whether you want to go with 8 and 32 or 16 or 64. Okay, this is how you choose the instance type on our AWS while launching an instance. So as I told you, first step is to create, choose AMI image. Second step is choose instance type. Okay, third, assume that I have chosen some T2 dot medium type. Under T2 dot medium, Amazon is offering 2 virtual CPUs and 4 GB of RAM. Okay, I know that what operating system I was going to install on this instance, Windows Server 2012 R2, and I know that what instance type I am going to launch, 2 virtual CPUs and 4 GB. It means the T2 dot medium. Then what about the storage? Yeah, for this you have to create EBS storage. Again, while creating EBS storage, you have to choose the size of the EBS storage. Either you want to attach 100 GB of hard disk, or 200 GB, or 500 GB, or 1 TB, or 10 TB. Maximum, sorry, Amazon can supports 2 TB of hard disk for your EC2 instance. Okay, assume that you require 10 TB of storage for your EC2 instance for your server. Then what you can do is, hey, you can create 5 times 2 TB of hard disk, and you can attach this 5 different hard disks to your instance. Okay, like C drive 2 TB, D drive 2 TB, E drive 2 TB, F drive 2 TB. The maximum hard disk that you can attach is 2 TB of storage to your EC2 instance. Okay, we have completed the bootable image. We have talked about this processor, RAM, and the storage. Now, fourth step, you have to choose in which VPC you want to launch this instance. In which VPC you want to launch this instance. You created different networks, right? Different lands on that AWS regions. You have to choose in which VPC, means LAN, you are going to launch this instance. After launching this instance, Amazon will provide a unique key pairs for that instance. Key pair, when I say key pair, KYPAIR, key pairs are nothing but, excuse me guys, those are like username and password in order to connect to your instance. After launching instance, if you want to connect to that instance, you should have the key pair. If you have the key pair, then only you can connect to the instance. Okay. Along with this step, there is one more step. Like you have to choose, you have to create a security group. What is this security group? This is like an external firewall for your operating system, that for the instance that you are launching. Why I am saying it as external firewall means, by default every operating system will have native firewall, or I means pre-installed firewall within the operating system. For example, when we talk about the Windows, there is a firewall called Windows Firewall, by default designed by Windows guys. For Linux operating systems, particularly for our RHEL based operating systems, there is an IP tables. The firewall name is IP tables. That is the native operating systems firewall. Along with the native operating system firewall, there is an extra firewall that is Amazon is attaching for your operating system, for your servers, for your instances. That is nothing but a security group. Okay, on the security group, here you have to decide which traffic has to hit to your server or which traffic has to go out from your server. It means that incoming traffic and outgoing traffic. If you block all the incoming traffic, no people can interact with this server. So basically what we do is we block all the incoming traffic and we open only RDP, means remote desktop protocol. Means I have to connect to that instance, right, to that server, and I have to take the remote desktop of that instance. Then I have to open the RDP protocol. RDP is a networking protocol that is used to connect to the servers remotely and take the desktop. For making remote connections, you use RDP protocol. That's the reason on the incoming traffic you have to open RDP for everyone, so that whoever has the key pair and they know the IP address of that instance, they can use the IP address and the key pair and they can connect to your server. So what I suggest is, hey guys, always safeguard your key pair. Always keep it very safe. Don't share your key pair with anyone. Okay. Now let us see how do we launch an instance on AWS. First sign into console. So any doubts on the theory part that I have discussed, guys? You can see he has placed this EC2 service under category called compute. Under category, there are a lot of categories: compute, storage, media servers, application integration, mobile services, management tools. But we are talking about EC2. EC2 comes under the category called compute. Here, when just keep the cursor on it, he is saying that virtual servers in the cloud. Yes, we are launching VMs in the cloud. Exactly, that's the reason he's calling virtual servers in the cloud with us. When you click on it, this is the dashboard of Amazon EC2 service. This is how it looks. Guys, I am reminding once again to everyone, the first and the foremost thing that you have to see when you open the console is to which data center region you are connected. Right now I'm connected to Mumbai data center region. Okay, these are all the different regions where Amazon has his data centers. Yeah, okay. If you want to connect to different data center, just click on that. If you want to connect to London data center, just click on London. The console will reload and now it will connect it to London data center of AWS. Here it is connected to London data center. If you launch some server here, it will be launched in the London data center. Okay, if you want to come back, let me come back to my Mumbai, because Mumbai is very near to me. That's the reason I'll choose always Mumbai. On this Mumbai region, when you see the dashboard, I have 0 running instances. No instances are running. Okay, let me launch one instance. Go to instances on the left side under instances category. Under instances, click on the instances. Now here click on launch instance. As I told you, the first step is choose AMI image, right? Here it is. Choose Amazon Mission image. Amazon Linux. Wow, this is the Linux designed by Amazon only. Amazon has designed an operating system called Amazon Linux. No. Or RHEL, Red Hat. Version is 7.4. Or SUSE Linux. These are all the different Ubuntu server, Microsoft Windows Server 2016 base model. Here you can see Microsoft Server Windows 2016 with containers. These are different versions of Windows. If you didn't find your required version here, okay, you can find that versions from the Amazon Market, AWS Marketplace, or Community AMS. Let me tell you what is Amazon Marketplace is. I wish everybody have used Amazon.com.in, where you have purchased some goods like mobile phones, everything, right? Similarly, if you are looking for some operating system with some software installed on that, okay, assume that your boss has approached you. He said, hey Karthik or something, hey Ravi or someone, I need Jenkins, or I need Jenkins server to be installed in one of our VMs. So what you do on Amazon EC2, you launch EC2 instance and then you install use Jenkins application on that instance. That is one way. The other way is you can go to the market and you can search for Jenkins bootable image. So on that bootable image, you'll have already installed operating system and the Jenkins. All you need to do is you need to choose that, so that you'll be launching an EC2 instance with Jenkins already installed along with the operating system. For that, just go to AWS Marketplace. This is like a market. You will find all the softwares on that image. Type Jenkins, search. Yeah, here you can see Jenkins. Just select this image along with the operating system. You'll have this image also. Here, see, if you select this, he's saying that, hey, on the base I have installed Linux operating system, that is Ubuntu. On that you'll have this Jenkins. Now if you want the base Windows and above that Jenkins, just search. Here is also on the base Ubuntu only he's giving. You have to search it and you have to find. Most of the people have installed this on only Linux. Linux, why? Because Windows requires Windows keys. Linux is free, that's the reason. Okay, you have to choose anyone depending upon your requirement or just launch. Now what is this community AMIs means? There are some community guys who are offering the operating systems for us for free. Okay, here you can find all the operating systems that are for free. Assume that I want some Ubuntu. See, basically by default we know that Linux operating systems are all free. Those are the designed by community and open community guys. Under community AMIs, you can find these all different operating systems. You can choose if you want one. Or on the AWS marketplace, here if you scroll down, I'll show you one thing. Operating systems, 117 products. It means that here you can find all the 117 different operating systems in the world. CentOS 7, CentOS 6, Debian, Ubuntu, Debian. I think you never have heard that words names also. Kali Linux, SUSE Linux, FreeBSD 10, 11, Container Linux, CIS, Red Hat Linux, plus operating system. Okay, Genymotion operating system Linux. These are different operating systems that Amazon is offering. From here, if you want, you can choose. Assume that in my scenario, we'll just go with Windows. So I'll go to Quick Start and I'll choose any Windows operating system. Assume that I want to launch just a Windows Server 2008 R2 base. I selected. My first step, I have selected my operating system. On the second step, how to choose the instance type, right? This is the Amazon instance, different instances Amazon is offering. Here you can see T2.nano is the smallest instance type that is offering one virtual CPU and just 500 MB of RAM. If you go on the maximum Amazon instance type offering is 128 virtual CPU and 1952 GB of RAM. That's very huge, right? One server of 2000 GB of RAM means. So in my thing, I just go with T2.micro. Why? Because as you first time register with Amazon, for the first 1 year, Amazon is offering some instances for you for free. Some services of AWS for you for free, and he is calling that as free tier eligible. Free tier eligible, under free tier eligible, Amazon will not charge any cost for you, because for the first time you have enrolled and for the first year, to make Amazon wants to you people like us, like customers, to get familiar with the Amazon console. That's the reason he's offering some services for free. So here he can saying that free tier eligible. It means that if I select this instance, Amazon will not charge me. Under this free tier eligible instance type, what is the type? T2.micro. He's giving me one virtual CPU of processor and 1 GB of RAM. Okay, I'll select that only because I don't want to get charged. Next, number of instances. How many instances you want to launch? 1 or 10 or 20 or 30 or 50, whatever you specify, that many instances you can launch. For each and every instance you launch, Amazon will charge you. So just guys, be okay. Watch with very careful while you are routing here, 1 or 2 or 3. For my requirement, I'll just launch one instance. Now here you have to choose the which VPC network you want to create. In my Mumbai region, I have 3 VPCs: test 1 VPC, my first VPC, default VPC. So I'll choose any one of my VPCs. I'll go with the default in this scenario. Okay, default AWS created VPC. And which subnet? I told you on every VPC you'll have subnets, right? There are two subnets on this VPC, 1 and A. One is attached to availability zone 1A, 2 is attached to availability zone 1B. Anyone you can choose. And auto assign public IP. You have to assign it, because if you until unless you don't assign the public IP, you cannot access it from outside of AWS. Right now, where am I? I am at my home. I am outside of AWS data center. If I want to connect to that instance should have public IP. That's the reason I have attached it. Next, I'm skipping all these different things because I don't want to mess up by today only all about this talking and making confuse your mind. Tomorrow I'll talk about these things later on. Okay, that's it. Next, add storage. Go to third step and how much type of storage you want to create. Assume that you want to create an 100 GB of storage for that instance. Yeah, select it 100. And next, add tags. Tags are nothing but the stickers that you give for that example: name, Like I can name it as my web server. Okay, this is a sticker that I am giving for that instance for my remembrance. Now security groups. You can create a new security group or you can select a security group if you have already created one. In this scenario, just I will go with creating a new security group and I'll name the security group as my first security group SG, or I can name it as my web server security group. Web server, because I'm attaching it to my web server, right? Now here you can add rules like by default he has added a rule called RDP, remote desktop protocol is open to everyone. Whoever has the key pair they can authenticate and they can connect to this server. Now review, this is what the changes I have did. I have chosen an AMI image of Windows Server 2008 and I have chosen instance type t2.micro and I have chosen security. I have created a security group called my web security. Under that I have given a protocol RDP 0.0.0.0/0 means everybody can connect if they have a key pair, and I have chosen a storage of 100 GB. Okay, just launch. While launching, now here it is saying it is creating a key pair. I told you, right, key pair is something that is required to connect to that EC2 instance. Choose a key pair. If you have already key pairs with you, choose. Yeah, guys, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, bro.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah, bro.
now the final step, you have to choose the key pair. I told you that key pair is required in order to connect to the TCT instance, right? If you have already created key pair, just choose the key pair, or if you want to create a new one, just create a new one and name that new one, or choose a new key pair. Here it is still loading. Why it is not listing all the key pairs that is in my region? Okay, I'll create a new key pair and I'll name the key pair as my first 13. Okay, now download. I have to download it key pair. This is my key pair I have downloaded. Now launch the instance. Now in the meantime, let us see how the key pair looks. I have downloaded the key pair, right? I'll go to downloads. This is the key pair I have downloaded. Guys, here you can see the key pair format is PEM. The format is PEM. When I right click and open it with notepad, this is how the key pair looks. It is encrypted. The username and password is encrypted and the key pair. So now let us see my instance. Is it launched or not? View instance. It is starting. Yeah, it is started running. Now your instance has started. This is the unique ID given by Amazon guy for this instance for his remembrance. And the type we have chosen is t2.micro. In which availability zone we have launched AP Southeast 1A. And the state is running. And this is the public IP of that instance. If I want to connect to this instance, what I can do is all I need to have is the public IP of the instance and the key pair. Now I'll use my system's RDP, remote desktop connection. Now what is the system's IP address here? I'll copy this IP address, public IP of this instance, and I'll open my RDP. I'll paste it here. Now I want the username and password, right? The username and password, how can I can get is right click on the instance, get Windows password. Now load that file, whatever we have downloaded, the key pair. Choose the key pair. Where is that key pair? On downloads, right? What is that we have kept? What is the file name? My first 13, right? Okay, my first 13. I loaded that file and then decrypt the password. I told you that password is encrypted on that this different language, right? All that combination of different words. Now I'll decrypt it. When I decrypt it, the password is decrypted successfully, and the password is username is administrator, and the password is this. Just copy and keep it very safe. I'll copy this and I'll keep it somewhere here. Okay. Now I'll use the same in order to connect to my system. RDP. I use username is administrator. Administrator. Connect. Now it is trying to connect and it is asking for the password. What is the password? After decrypting, I got something, right? BU. Let me copy this password. Control C and paste it. Okay. Yes. Now I'm connecting to that server that I have launched in Mumbai region of AWS data center. This is how you create instances on our AWS and you can connect to it. I'm connected to that server. Let me see. I'll go to C drive, my computer of that server, and what is that? Yeah, 99.9 GB. It means that 100 GB we have launched the server volume, right? Okay. This is the public IP. By using that, we have connected. Along with the public IP for each and server, you'll have the private IP also, right? In order to communicate within the network, this is the private IP of the server. In which availability zone you have launched AP South 1A. What is this instance type? T2.micro. And this is the computer name given by Amazon for that instance. If you want to change, yeah, you can change it also. This is how you create instances on our AWS EC2 and you can launch and you can connect. Okay, there are a lot of things more you can do with EC2. I'll tell you tomorrow. So this is for today, guys. Any doubts on this today's topic?
No, bro.
No. So guys, this is very
So,
easy that
Karthik, one question is,
yeah.
so if we want to launch any licensed software, does Amazon bill us, or how does that work? For example, if I need to launch a uh, truth two with license enterprise version, so who's going to bill us?
Okay.
How do we enter the keys and stuff?
Amazon on the back end itself will take care of all the licensing. If I say Amazon is instance pricing, let me tell you. AWS EC2 instance pricing. Linux are free and Windows are cost right. He'll cost of our operating system. That's the reason. When compared with the Linux, the same EC2 instance, if you're trying to install Windows operating system, the cost is high. If you see T2.nano on the same US East Ohio region, he is charging you $0.058 per hour for Linux. If you switch to Windows, 0.081, because along with that instance, he will charge this amount, extra amount for the Windows licensing. If you go with Windows Enterprise, as you said, SQL Enterprise, it is 1.884. License cost is much. For that particular T2.media, no. T2.media is not supporting. You have to choose the higher, at least for virtual CPU. Okay. This is how you have to, the pricing varies depend. Amazon will take care of all that operating system pricing, okay, depending upon that version. And there are, along with that, there are some other operating systems like uh, SQL, or what it is that Microsoft Visio, what is that? SharePoint operating system. Microsoft SharePoint operation. All this comes under. He has placed Amazon under this particular category only, standard. Okay. Under that only, Amazon will paying that license fees and everything on hour basis. Okay. Usually, what you do on premises, you'll purchase the license for entire 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years, right? But here, Amazon has purchased that. Amazon has kept it with. When you launch the server, Amazon is going to use the same license for that server for, and he'll charge you only for 1 hour.
Got it.
Okay, the pricing varies for Linux and Windows. I'll tell you about this in detail tomorrow class. Okay, I don't want to mess up for today talking much about and just to confuse you.
Okay.
Okay, any other doubts, guys?
Okay.
Okay, guys, that's it for today. We're done with today's class. But guys, I want everyone please to launch the server and just connect to it and try this in your AWS accounts. Okay, then only you'll get the hands-on. Because while doing it, you'll face some problems. I know. You'll come up tomorrow with some questions for me. Okay, just try and do it. Thank you guys, and we'll meet up tomorrow. Bye bye.